Welcome to today's Threat Assessment Explainer. Look, as political leaders, you need to know that modern adversaries have literally weaponized everyday data for mass psychological manipulation. We're talking about a radical shift here. Conflicts aren't just being fought in the physical realm anymore. They're moving directly into the human mind. So put on your cybersecurity analyst hats with me for a bit because we urgently need to talk about this. Okay, here's our game plan for today's explainer. First, the espionage baseline. Second, weaponizing stolen data. Third, the information warfare doctrine. Fourth, memetic and psychological warfare. And finally, defending the collective consciousness. Let's just jump right in. Section 1. The espionage baseline. Understanding the pivot. For decades, during the Cold War, the game was pretty straightforward, right? Traditional espionage was all about stealing secrets in the dark to learn about a society. Basically, if you weren't doing it, you were falling behind. But modern covert influence? That's a whole different beast. The goal now isn't just to learn about a society, it's to weaponize that stolen data to openly disrupt and change it from the inside out. Former CIA and NSA chief Michael Hayden hits the nail on the head regarding this monumental shift. He points out that you take hacked information and, well, you wash it. You launder it through digital third parties like WikiLeaks or random online forums. And you do this not to understand the target society, but to fundamentally change it. It takes what used to be standard international espionage and morphs it into the most successful covert influence campaigns we've literally ever seen. Moving on to Section 2. Weaponizing stolen data. The 2016 blueprint. Let's look at the 2016 election data hacks as a neutral case study, because this wasn't just some random hack. It was a very specific anatomical sequence. First, the attackers spearfish to get their foot in the door. Then, they exfiltrate massive amounts of sensitive data. Third, and this is absolutely crucial, they wash it through publishers or fake personas so you can't trace it back to them. And lastly, they aggressively amplify the whole thing across social media to make sure everyone sees it. There was actually a political candidate in Florida who dealt with this firsthand, and they had this perfect analogy. They said, it's like you're a football team getting ready for the Super Bowl, you've got your playbook, and then out of nowhere, your rival steals it and publishes it for the entire world to see. I mean, you were completely, absolutely exposed. And our threat assessment shows this went way beyond just leaking some embarrassing emails. We're talking gigabytes, literally gigabytes of highly targeted voter persuasion data, dropped district by district, folder by folder. Actually, what they were really after were the persuadables, the voters who could still be swayed. That right there proves this was a highly curated surgical operation to manipulate specific local races. Section 3. The information warfare doctrine, a permanent state of conflict. We have to understand the military philosophy behind this, which intelligence analysts call the Gerasimov Doctrine, named after a powerful Russian general. It basically assumes a permanent state of information confrontation. Under this framework, a staggering 75% of the strategies used to weaken a rival have absolutely nothing to do with the military. We're talking propaganda, hacking, economic sanctions. The underlying tactics are basically old-school 1970s KGB stuff, but today's social media algorithms act like a massive megaphone for it. Just to put the brutal economics of this into perspective, for the exact same cost of one single F-35 fighter jet, an adversary can fund an army of 5,000 state-sponsored hackers. 5,000. It is just unbelievably cheap and incredibly effective at wrecking democratic infrastructure without a single shot ever being fired. That brings us to Section 4, memetic and psychological warfare, bypassing the brain. Now, as decision makers, you really need to ask yourselves, why are simple, seemingly harmless internet memes, the kind of stuff bubbling up from places like Reddit or 4chan, why are they now considered highly effective weapons for fracturing national unity? Well, it all comes down to the Trojan horse effect. Cyber operatives know that if you pack a really dense, radical ideological concept into a funny, shareable little image, our guard just completely drops. The humor and the narrative essentially act as a delivery system, letting these extreme payloads slip right past our logical defenses. And the data totally backs this up. DARPA actually funded fMRI research that shows exactly what happens in our brains. When someone attacks our core beliefs with just direct facts, our amygdala flares up and we aggressively resist changing our minds. But if you present that exact same information wrapped in a compelling story or a funny meme, we become incredibly susceptible to it. Jonas Kaplan, one of the researchers on that fMRI study, summed it up perfectly. He explained that when you tell a story with a point of view, people soften their defenses because they just don't perceive it as an assault. The story just kind of worms its way in, and you don't even realize your mind is being changed. So let's break down an actual mimetic strike. First, operatives use hashtags to artificially manufacture a brand new news cycle, forcing mainstream media to cover it. Then they take their ideological payload and pack it into a single, highly shareable image. Finally, they inject some humor to lower your guard. It targets the collective consciousness by turning digital culture into a literal battlefield, especially for younger generations who often treat the internet like one big video game. Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, Defending the Collective Consciousness, the New Battlefield. If you take one thing away from this briefing, let it be this: your front lines have shifted. The ultimate target is no longer just servers, routers, or military bases. No, the real target today is the collective consciousness of the voting public. The goal isn't just to steal a file anymore. It's to divide the public, dictate the news cycle, and basically rewrite reality on the screens of everyday citizens. So I want to leave you with a really urgent challenge. We've seen how foreign intelligence agencies and domestic trolls are bioengineering our culture into weapons of mass influence. When our adversaries are literally using our own cultural narratives and digital platforms against us, how on earth are we going to evolve to protect the human mind? Think about that. Thank you for joining me for this explainer, and definitely keep questioning what you see on your screens.